not to like pin you down, but at this point, knowing it's slippery and mercury and everything's subject to change, free will. What do you think? Do we have it?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, I think we do. But in certain aspects, there are moments where it's just kind of like blips out of existence for a moment. Like, think of Donnie Darko. That whole movie is basically an exercise on free will.
Yeah, but what you're saying is if we don't have free will all the time, because when our subconscious kicks in, mm-hmm. when our muscle memory kicks in,
yeah.
I mean, we're not, freely choosing that. Mm-hmm. That's not. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm less positive. You feel like yes, and I'm kind of like, it just feels so slippery to me.
It is a very slippery concept,
but at the same time, I don't know if you can say ultimately there is such a thing as ultimate free will. Mm-hmm. I tend to. I guess I wouldn't disagree too hardly with the way you stated it because mm-hmm. it's like
it's there. It's just a matter of realizing that it's there and when it's plausible and when you can use it and that type of stuff.
So perhaps we have
it. We're just not always.
We've got a touch of free will. Free will and motivation. In a ridiculous way, I think we've already, just between a little of the cursory conversations we've had, mm-hmm. seems like are interlinked.
Yep.
Because, whether or not, humans have the ability to freely choose, to what extent and to what degree are we choosing?
Mm-hmm.
And then the idea of motivation.
Mm-hmm.
What motivates us, levels of motivation for different things, knowing that there are certain things that we have to do,
mm-hmm.
which gets back to what are we freely choosing.
Yeah.
And, we do, humans, and it's pretty much backed up by science, we act a lot out of our subconscious.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of instincts that take over at certain triggers.
And some of them are great for survival.
Mm-hmm. And people don't even realize it half the time. There's a lot of emotions that are actually just impulses. And people treat them as if it's some major cognitive feat. And it's like, no, your body felt this. And so it's telling your brain this. And now you're reacting like this.
Yeah, it's interesting. Motivation is interesting for me because I feel like a little out of place in this culture in that I'm not very motivated by money.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been difficult for me because I'd rather feel good or feel like I'm spending more of my time the way I want to spend my time. That seems more free
mm-hmm.
than, say, feeling like I have to do something or else. That feels very coercive to me.
Mm-hmm. There's like a system in place because every society has a system of some sorts mm-hmm. that kind of limits what amount of free will you do have. But then in the gaps, you kind of have that leeway, but adherence
Agreed.
To a hierarchy.
Sure. And sometimes, I don't think all hierarchy is bad.
No.
And I think sometimes parameters can push creativity.
Mm-hmm. Those parameters also can affect your motivation then, because if it's a parameter, or say you've got a specific thing you have to do a certain way, but you don't want to do it, you're not going to feel very motivated to do it that way at all, ever.
Yeah.
And so immediately then you've got that free will choice of whether you do it because you have to, or do you don't do it because you just don't like it. But then at the same time, then there's that weird gap there where it's like, well, one way is a determined way, the other way is a determined way. So what's the center ground there that actually proves you just had a free will option in that moment?
Well, right. And if we feel like we're doing something that ultimately we wouldn't be doing but for the system in place,
Mm-hmm.
is that really freely choosing to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that like, well, not doing it would have a perceived worse consequence
Mm-hmm.
than going along with it?
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like our culture, I mean, has been really good at conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like we're maybe the most conditioned country in the world.
More conditioned, less disciplined. Because there's a lot of things that go on that if people just had a specific amount of discipline, it wouldn't go down the way it goes down. "30-second random topic. Today's episode, we're doing balls." Go. I'll start the time when you say something.
You mean it's not running yet? I was really pulling for that to just be counting. No? Okay.
No, I'm going to wait for you to say something.
So, okay. Just to recap, the random topic today is balls.
Balls.
Okay. Balls. Most guys have two.
They're aerodynamic.
Remember the big red gym ball
Mm-hmm.
balls? Balls.
You can throw them.
You can catch them.
They're spherical. And done. Okay.
Balls.
Oh, that's it for this episode of Podception.
I was moving around and not looking, sorry. Sorry. Yeah.
So, join us again on PC Weekly.
I have a question. When we do this outro, are we freely choosing to do it, or are we just motivated by time to do it, or both?
See where you're going there. With Donnie Darko, you've got the whole wormhole time apparatus thing that they have happen.
Humanity, survival, free will, motivation. Are any of them real? Luke Zeman, go.
I'm dreaming now, aren't I? Where'd Andrew go?
Who's Andrew? You've named the plant Andrew?
Apparently.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going, bro fist?
So,
I'm not very motivated for this.
Right.